Most think peace is passive, that war is inevitable, that someone else will handle it. Well, we don't. Welcome to the Department of Peace, where dreamers and doers like you and me and all of us who are fed up with the way things are working together to forge a different future. Today we're joined by Rawand, a Kurdish humanitarian in Iraq and former refugee who today serves as co-founder of Humanite, a peace collective of refugees and war survivors who are stopping war before it starts and rebuilding what it breaks by providing relief, creating jobs, and uniting divided communities. Together, we continue our series on how to survive a dictator. Rawand talks about growing up in the shadow of genocide at the hands of Saddam Hussein in Iraq, living through brutal American sanctions, and the turning point in his adult life when he decided to abandon his career as an engineer and serve refugees who were fleeing ISIS. Rawand shows us how refugees and war survivors are the best suited to serve other refugees and war survivors, and why the millions of people who have lived under dictatorships around the world may be the canaries in the coal mine today, warning us about the signs and symptoms of the coming coup or our dying democracy. Here's our discussion. Rawand Rasul, welcome to the Department of Peace.
Thank you so much.
So glad you're here. So we're going to be talking about how to survive a dictator. And you and your family, you know something about how to survive a dictator. I don't want to tell our audience, the whole story yet, but we're sitting in the country of Iraq.
Okay.
You're a Kurdish person in Iraq, from the northern part, the Kurdish area of Iraq. Yeah. Tell me a little bit, go back to the beginning and just tell me a little bit about your family, your personal story, and our audience will learn over time why that meant you had to learn how to survive a dictator.
Yes. So my story from the time I was born, the same month when I was born in August 1990, our start in our country. Saddam invaded Kuwait at that month and occupied within few days. This invasion continued until early months of 1991. And Saddam doesn't listen to anyone. All the countries, Arab countries, they are asking Saddam to go out from Kuwait and leave Kuwait in the peace way. Saddam didn't listen to anyone, and at that time announced that this is the 19th governor of Iraq. They changed the play. They created a kind of governor to Kuwait. This kind of stuff ongoing. At that time, so there is international coalition launched against Saddam with some Arab countries even in this coalition to kick out Saddam from Kuwait. The war started as I read it like in February 1991. They push out Saddam from Kuwait. At the same time, there were uprisings.
What did you call that war? Do you remember what?
The first Gulf War.
You called it that too? Okay.
Yes.
That's what we called it in America.
Yeah, the first Gulf War. But people mostly here talking about like attacking Saddam to Kuwait. Mm-hmm. Like a kind, this is like how the year of Saddam attacked Kuwait. This is published and people talking about it. So after that, also there is a
I want to stop real fast here. It's interesting because we've seen this a couple times on our show with guests. You call this man that we're talking about by his first name, Saddam.
Yes.
Just his first name.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just interesting to me that these guys that we end up talking about, they start wars, they take over other countries, they commit genocide, and you call them by their first name, like somehow they're close to you. Why? Like, we don't call our presidents mostly by our first name in America. We mostly call them by President Trump or President Obama, or maybe we call him by last name, Obama or Bush. Or I'm just curious why even though he's like your enemy or enemy of your people, why do you call him by just his first name like that?
Because do you know, from the first memory I remember about him, just a kind of fearness to me. I remember the same story. This is why it changed the name. Depend on the stage of my life. We are talking about Saddam because
What's his full name? Tell the audience.
Saddam Hussein, his full name.
And what was his role or position?
He was the president of Iraq for 35 years, from 1979 up to 2003. So a sad story I had about Saddam, I want to tell you why now I'm just saying Saddam. I have this courage and that I didn't have before. I remember when I went to the primary school, so all our book during 90s coming from Saddam's time. So the first page, all of our book was Saddam's picture. The president of Iraq, God bless him. So sometimes I'm just playing by the picture as a child love. So I just add in ears or add in mustache for the Saddam. One time I remember just my family.
He probably should have known that was going to happen if he puts his photo in everyone's book.
Yeah, they saw it, just informed me that is dangerous. You should not do it because it is true Saddam not here at that time.
Here, what do you mean by here?
I'm talking about Kurdistan. So
and what is Kurdistan?
Kurdistan is we have 4 governorates at the north of Iraq: Kirkuk, Slemania, Duhok, and Erbil. But formally, we can say the 3 of them stayed as a Kurdistan. The other one, it was not a part of this Kurdish autonomy. So if I am telling you what is a Kurdish autonomy, if you are going back to the Kuwait war, you should go back to that time. Kurdish parties united at the time of the international coalition against Saddam. They united a coalition, started within the help of the Kurdish people, civilians. They started as a demonstration from Rania, a kind of revolution against Saddam and the Iraqi government, Iraqi regime at that time, and also Shia people from the south. So both parties, they from the north, the Kurdish parties, and from the south, they started to kick out their Iraqi regime or Saddam's group in their cities. And within 20 days, we liberated all the Kurdish cities within Kirkuk, and the Shia's group also, they were close to Baghdad.
So Saddam has been in control of the country as president of the country for, I don't know, maybe 15 years by that point, or 10, 11 years, something like that.
Yeah, formally, I think it was 12 years, but informally, more than 15 years.
And so you're a child, you're sitting in your classrooms, and you're coloring mustaches and horns and making him out like the devil or something in your book.
Yeah.
And your teachers say, don't do that, it's dangerous.
Yes.
But the teachers are Kurdish probably, right?
Yes, the teachers are Kurdish, even my family, because there were a fear Saddam coming back to Kurdistan.
So he has occupied or controlled or he had his military forces here in your lands. There's an ancient kind of struggle here between the Kurds for their land. We'll maybe talk about that in a minute. I just want to stay with your childhood for a second. At this time that you're studying in school and you're remembering drawing these pictures, you're not under the direct control of Saddam Hussein at that time.
Yes, we have a kind of autonomy for the 3 governorate of Kurdistan.
The people, the population of Kurds had kind of pushed him and the Arab forces, the Ba'athist forces, out of your lands, right?
Yes, we did this after that. So a kind of revolution in 1991, we kicked them out, but due to the Bush's father's decisions that declared we will not enter Iraq, so this gave back power to Saddam Hussein and retaliated against Kurds and Shia. So all the Kurds, like more than 2 million Kurds, has displaced at that time. We fled to Iran.
Okay, so let me try and catch everyone up as best that we can kind of set a timeline here.
Yes.
So Saddam comes to power in the 70s.
Yes.
He rules the country with a lot of aggression and a lot of suppression. also creates a lot of growth for the country and builds a lot of things. And, some things are going well in some parts of the country.
Yes.
Some things are going terrible, and he's killing a lot of people. The Kurds are one of the groups that are really getting pushed down.
Yes.
And there's a genocide against the Kurds we can talk about in the 80s. And so by the time we come to the 90s and you're born,
Yes.
The Kurdish people have risen up and pushed Saddam out of the north.
Yes.
And around the same time, he invades Kuwait. A little bit before that, he invades Kuwait.
Yeah.
And the U.S. Gulf War #1 starts. And the U.S. creates some protections and stuff for the Kurds, but then ultimately Saddam fights back against the Kurds and hits back really hard for the revolution or the rebellion against him. It's like watching Hunger Games or something, So you're one of the districts. You're one of the outer districts that's like fighting against the capital, right?
Yeah.
And you had some success as Kurdish people.
Yes.
But then the district realizes, or the capital realizes it's still very strong, and it strikes back against you.
Yeah.
And that's when you said 2 million people get displaced. Tell me about what you know or heard or remember about being a child and this happening.
Yeah, mostly my family telling me a lot of stories at that time. It was difficult for them, like everyone thinking about, because we had experience 3-4 years ago at that time, like in 1988, we have a chemical attack to Halabja. We have genocide, Anfal, that under the name of the Anfal genocide of the Kurds, more than 100,000 of Kurds genocided, and people up to date we are talking about, some of them they don't know still where they are buried. Some of them they found it after 2003. So people had this trauma at that time, and they were thinking if Saddam came back to the city, so the same genocide will happen to all the Kurds. This is why there were no choice for them. Staying, waiting for the Saddam genocide, or fleeing and displaced to another place. So the decision of the majority of people to be displaced to Iran and Turkey. And as our city is close to Iran, so my family, among of these Kurds families, they decided to flee to Iran. They went to Iran. At that time, my age is 5 months. And a sick baby. My mother telling me I was so sick at that time, and the weather is really cold at that time. People crossing the border, even some people just walk it, maybe 300 kilometers or 400 kilometers, just walk it from here to Iran. A lot of families, they abandon their children, their older ages that they cannot walk, they cannot continue with them. A lot of people died because of there were no food, because of the cold. It was a terrible situation. Even my mom telling me this story, even like the Iranian soldiers on the border, they offered help to her. Let me carry your baby for you. Said, no, I don't want, because I were afraid I will not see you again if I give it you to them. After that, how they offered, let me take him to hospital. No, I cannot, because still a kind of the trauma of the Iraqi Ba'ath regime in their mind, so they cannot trust anyone. So at that time, our family, among other Kurdish family, were displaced to Iran.
Do you have photos from that time?
No, I don't have any photo. As a family, I don't have photos. We have photos in Iran, but because I was, first I was so sick, and second I was just 5 months, so I was not a part of this photo, but we have a family photos in Iran.
You have many brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
Okay, so you're the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
How is the oldest one more than you?
My sister is 1970.
Okay, so how old was she when she was born in 1970? So she was 21 years old.
Yes.
21 years old at the time that this fleeing happened.
Yes.
So, two parents, a 21-year-old child, daughter, all the way down to a 5-month-old baby, and all the ages in between.
Yeah.
What was this like, as you have heard or as you can imagine, for your parents to have to keep watch and control and protection over a family so big, fleeing from the fear of a second genocide?
Yeah, it was difficult, even more difficult for our family, because I just forgot to tell you, like my father wounded during the revolution, so it was much more difficult for us because my father
What do you mean wanted?
uh,
He was wanted?
injured.
Oh, he was wounded.
Yeah, wounded, injured.
Injured,
Yeah,
okay. So he was wounded by what?
yeah. There were a kind of fighting close to one of the mountains. They were to liberate it, and he injured and during the revolution.
He was a fighter, or
He was not a fighter, he was a civilian, but a part of this process. Yeah.
as he was serving the revolutionary
Yes.
Kurdish
Yes.
Peshmerga
Yes.
forces, or he was totally civilian, like separate from that altogether?
He was totally civilian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was injured in the fighting.
Yeah.
Do you know what his injury was?
The injury was a kind of. I don't know exactly, but a kind of bomb into their car. So his leg directly affected and he cannot walk. This was made our situation more difficult than other families.
Wow. There's some historic photos from that time, some very famous and emotional photos that I've seen from that time of people just walking, like
Yeah.
miles and miles and miles of people, just like as far as your eye can see, just a river of people walking to Iran.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you were not with the people walking because he couldn't walk.
Yes.
Were you driving?
We have a relative that have their own car. Yeah, because of my father, they came offered help to my father, and my father telling me this guy. He was a Peshmerga. He was in the front line of Kirkuk.
Tell me what the word Peshmerga means.
Peshmerga is the Kurdish fighters or the Kurdish army that controlling up to date the Kurdish autonomy part. Peshmerga, it means like before this, or you are going to this, something like this. This is the meaning of Peshmerga. Like this is a Kurdish army. We are naming Peshmerga.
Those who face death.
Yes, who face this, yes.
So the relative who came to help you, he was Peshmerga?
He was Peshmerga in the front line of Kirkuk when Saddam came back to Kurdistan in 1991 as a retaliated. So he came, just told our family we couldn't find anymore. So you should leave because in the next few weeks Saddam came to us. Saddam will reach Suleimania, so we should leave as soon as possible.
So,
this guy helped us.
So he came from the front line.
Yeah.
Kind of like a warning.
Yes.
And said, look, the front line is falling. We're not going to be able to hold him off. You're my family. I care about you. You should get out of here.
Yeah, this guy helped us a lot, and he brought a car to my family and took us with his family, and we went to Iran. And we divided at that time up to the border. Like some of our family went to my father's family, a part of our family went with my mother. It's like divided on the cars. I remember
Wait, your family, just your brothers and sisters.
Yes, we divided.
You actually divided.
Yes, we divided
For how
up
long?
to the border until we reached to the border. And I remember my brother telling me, like,
wow.
They were inside the water, like a tanker, the truck of water. They were inside, like, the tank.
Hiding inside?
Yeah.
Hiding or just riding?
It is not hiding. It's just the only way
to
get the border.
Travel.
Yeah.
Wow. So your family flees to Iran.
Yeah.
What do you know or remember? What did you hear? I know you don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Initially, you were 5 months, but What are the stories and what happened to your family in Iran?
The main story that all my family and I heard from most of the Kurds here, uh, the good treatment, the warm welcoming from the Kurdish Iranian people to the refugees, to the displaced people. They opened their houses, they provided food, they support all the shelters, they are visiting the shelters, they are taking care of the refugees. Like the people divided on they were settled in the mosques, in the schools, in some in tents.
Do you know where you lived? Where you had to stay as a family?
We stayed, I think, a city named Bokan.
But what kind of shelter or
Shelter like a mosque
Okay.
or schools.
you lived in a mosque or
Yeah,
schools?
we lived in the mosque, as my family told me. But no one can forget how the Kurdish Iranian people, they offered different kind of help. Anything people needed, they offered it, and they were continuing with us up to the end date of our displacement.
How long was that?
I think they stayed for around 5 months. Depend on the family. Some
Sure.
family longer or sometimes shorter.
But you were displaced for at least 5 months.
Yes.
How do you know when it's time to come back from displacement?
Sorry, what?
When you run away from something as scary as Saddam's army, who already committed genocide against your people one time, and you think it's going to happen a second time, so you run away from that. How do you know when it's clear to come back home?
The main point, I think, at that time, it was two things. There were a general amnesty from Saddam Hussein toward all the Kurds to come back. There will be no retaliation against anyone coming back to their homes, and from radio station, from everywhere, just announcing and advertising or asking people to come back to their homes, and nothing will happen against
Under a
them.
general amnesty.
Yes.
How do you know you can trust something like that? If this guy is really a bad guy, if he's the kind of guy that we draw horns on in our childhood school books, and the kind of guy that we claim did genocide against us, how can you trust an amnesty?
Trusting amnesty of Saddam is not something easy. It's an option of people. It can be staying as a displacement life is not easy.
Yeah.
The situation they were in. However, as I mentioned, it like the Kurdish Iranians, they were good with them, but the situation
Sure.
inside the shelter is not a good choice. It's not an easy life for them to stay in a longer life. So, and Saddam at that time also became weak. He lost a lot of power. It is true, controlled over the country, but not the same power he had during 80s. So this kind of, and also there were international support for the Kurds after they displaced it, and a kind at that time of promising to be no-fly zone over the Kurdistan. So this point is encouraged people
Yeah.
and create a kind of trust people to return back here.
So the international efforts, and this really becomes part of the origin story of why Kurdish people loved America and American people
Yes.
for a while, because the Americans did come and fight against Saddam. They did push him back, and they did help create the no-fly zone
Yeah.
that ended up preventing Saddam from flying his airplanes and stuff and dropping chemical weapons again, for example, like
Yeah.
he did in Halabja. So that helped provide the legal and kind of military structure that meant amnesty could maybe be trusted.
Yes, exactly. And through that time also Saddam's army withdrew from Kurdistan and left the three cities. Finally, yes. After the no-fly zone decision.
So you come back, you're still a very small child.
Yes.
probably don't really remember a lot of this stuff by your own memories.
Yeah.
What do you remember about growing up then in this newly free Kurdistan, the freedom that you all dreamed about for so long, to kick Saddam out and not have your people killed on the streets or disappeared for torture or something like this? You're now living in a free Kurdistan, at least by the name free. Was it free? Was it great? Was it the perfect dream that everyone had after the revolution?
From my memory, from the story, and everyone told me, and from my memory, what I remember, no, unfortunately, no.
What happened?
The brothers killing each other.
Hmm.
After they got this kind of autonomy, the internal tension increased among the parties.
The two Kurdish parties,
The two
three or whatever.
Well, there were a lot of fighting, but the majority, we cannot talk about the two Kurdish party. They were starting to fight each other and a civil war inside Kurdistan.
And they fought a little bit for the years before that. They fought in the early 90s. They fought in the 80s. They were sometimes on the same side, sometimes against each other, but never like this.
Yes.
Never a civil war between Kurdish people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. The first memory I remember is one of my cousin that my father loved him a lot. It is the first funeral in my life I can remember. He just killed in one of the civil wars between the two parties. Still the memory I cannot, like, I was just 6 years old. I'm telling some people, I say, how you cannot remember? But the memory was sad in a way. I cannot forget it, like how everyone just cried. It was the first time for me I'm seeing how ladies, how my mother, how my sisters, everyone just crying. For my age, I don't understand. I know we lost someone, like, we loved him a lot. My father loved him, my family loved him a lot, but I don't understand why he killed. I cannot understand what is going on. But I just remember, like, someone who loved from my family a lot has been killed, and they brought him back. And I remember all the situation, how his mom, how my mom, they are crying and they are going to the mosque and everything. This is my childhood. The fair is my childhood story I remember from the civil war.
Wow.
Is that these days of my cousin.
Why do you think this happens so often in revolutions? Why do you think we kill our brothers, like you said, after the revolution?
The problem, if you are, the two major problems, just at that time, just to get money and power. It was a fighting over the power. The other people, the civilians, they don't have another choice. So it was a job for them. It was a work for them to be a soldier.
Which comes back to money.
Yes, it comes back to money. It is not
survival.
It is survival. It is not about they love fight each other.
Or hate the other guy.
Hate the other guys, because in other words, another cousin for me. So I lost two cousins in this fighting. One in this party, the other one other party.
Wow.
Both my cousin and both my relative, and we love both sides. But you don't have a choice. It is not the choice of people, the choice of the leaders, and a kind of this is left from the dictator Saddam Hussein for them. How you be the only one to make all the decision, how you kind of make the control. It is fighting for power and controlling.
Wait a minute. You said this is left over from Saddam. Are you saying that the people who fought to kick Saddam out,
yes,
they took his same methods and ideas and made it their own methods and ideas after they kicked him out?
Yes, because the same idea of controlling money and army, you kind of control the country.
They became like little Saddams.
Yes, yes, they love it at that time.
That's freedom.
That is a freedom.
Is to become little Saddams.
Yes, exactly.
You said it's not a choice, and I think I understand what you mean by that. At the same time, did every single man in Kurdistan pick up a gun and fight?
No, no.
What do you think what do you think why do some men, let's just say men for now more maybe than women, why do some men join the fight and some men don't?
It can be divided to two parties. Some of them just they join it because it's a kind of job for them to get a monthly salary from the parties. It is not about their mindset. It is not about they believe what they are doing. Some other no, they kind of manipulated by the politic leaders. They gave them a kind of understanding. If the other party controlling this will bad for us, this will happen, and we should control. We want to be a democratic government. We will serve people. So both of them, they have their own propaganda. Both of them, they have their own list that can convince people to be with them and fight for them. So some groups, they believe to fight each other. Some others, no, they found it as a source of salary. At the same time, also the role of other countries, neighbor countries, they had a role in this conflict.
Outside money, outside
yes,
forces.
Outside weapon, everything.
Under Saddam, when he had his total power, the state controlled the school. This is a very normal structure, and
Yes.
all these places we're talking about how to survive a dictator. Usually, the state controls the school. Usually, and a lot of these conversations we're having, the state is a one-party state or a one-party system, the Ba'ath Party for Saddam,
Yes.
for example. So really, the party controls the school. Of course, it's going to be a government school, but more specifically, this party now controls what happens in the school. But now in the Kurdish situation, so you've pushed out the party, you've pushed out the capital, pushed out Saddam, and you're still part of Iraq, but you're starting to build your own systems. One party kind of controls one region geographically, and the other party, Kurdish party, controls another region.
Yes.
In those regions, did the party control the school as well? Your new parties, or your Kurdish parties,
Yes.
did they control your school system?
No, because we didn't have enough capacity from both sides. As we kind of say, to Kurdish government, they didn't have enough capacity to build a new curriculum or printing new books.
So are you still on the state curriculum, the Saddam curriculum?
Yes.
Okay.
Until early 2000s, we were still on the...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did the party control, the local party control the mosque?
I kind of say they didn't fully control it, but they were aware about what it kind of be talking
Did they
about.
pressure the mosque, influence the mosque?
They don't influence, but they don't allow him to talk about some stuff.
It's not
Yeah.
free.
Yes, it's a kind of like they don't
Threat.
care. Yeah, they don't care about you. They don't do anything until something wrong going.
The reason I'm asking is I'm trying to understand more about like who has the most influence or who has the most control that determines this question of like brainwashing or propaganda. You said there's kind of two groups who go to war. One is doing it only for money, or one is doing it maybe because they're influenced by the propaganda or they believe. So I'm just trying to understand who controls these messaging systems, or what would be the solution. You know, maybe you would think that the school should educate us better so that we can resist these kind of dictatorial forces in our life, or maybe the mosque or the church should, the temple of any kind should teach us better. teach us a moral kind of center or scripture or some kind of spiritual wisdom that can help us resist these evil forces. But then I'm also thinking, what happens if the state also controls, or the party controls those institutions?
Yeah, it just also we don't forget at that time we had also international sanctions on Kurdistan. So directly affected the life of everyone here.
Tell me about sanctions. This is a word that I think a lot of Americans don't understand. It's one of those expensive words that people think, oh, it's beyond me. I don't know exactly. It sounds important. I know. I'll tell you. For when you were a child, living under sanctions, I was a child. I exactly remember sitting on my living room floor. I'm a little 10 years older than you maybe, so I remember sitting 10 years old watching the images on my TV screen of the U.S. bombing Baghdad and fighting against Saddam and driving Saddam out of Kuwait. And I remember these first Gulf War images very well. And then my memory goes away and I don't remember something for a little bit of time. Then I remember sitting on my living room floor again, and I remember seeing Kurdish people for the first time in my life. And they're guys in baggy pants,
Yes.
and wraps on their head, jamana, and AK-47s, crawling through the mountains, walking through the mountains. And I remember the story was these poor Kurdish people, Saddam Hussein, the butcher from Baghdad, the butcher of Baghdad,
Yes.
he's committing genocide. Now we have to go kill this guy. We have to destroy his government because he's hurting these poor Kurdish people. And our solution is, now I'm thinking like Bill Clinton comes into office, and this is just how I remember it. This isn't a history, but I remember thinking George Bush Sr., the first one, he was the war guy.
Yes.
He went to war. Clinton was the sanctions guy.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking Clinton was the nice guy. Like, he didn't do war, he did sanctions. Now, that's not actually the history lesson. The history, all the sanctions started with Bush as well, but Clinton was the one who carried them on. So that's just how my childhood I remember them. And my point is, I remember sanctions. I remember thinking as a child that sanctions were kinder, nicer than war. What did it feel like to live under sanctions, and what are sanctions?
So, sanction, what you mentioned, it is nicer than war to the government, not to the people. Sanctions directly destroyed life of everyone here in Iraq.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter you are living in the Kurdish autonomy side or under Saddam's regime. At that time, sanctions preventing Saddam to sell oil. But doesn't change anything from Saddam's family life.
Yeah.
They stayed rich, they have food, they have security, they have everything. Who paid for this sanction? The normal people.
And how do you pay?
We didn't have any food.
Tell me what sanctions is.
Sanctions, it means like the government does cutting the economic income for the government, for example, at that time for Saddam's regime. And preventing from exporting or importing international stuff, and doesn't allow in international or foreign companies to work with this government. So all of this stuff, but on field, who paid? People paying for this.
So he can't sell his oil.
Yes.
This is supposed to punish him.
And this is the main source of economy of Iraq.
So we're going to weaken your economy.
Yeah.
We're going to put you in a very hard place, and then you will negotiate with us.
Yes.
That's the theory, maybe.
Yeah, but
that's what we claim the theory is.
Yes, but at the same time, we lost our money, the money lost the price. So our trade, even when they are importing something from neighborhood country, if you are paying, for example, $1 or as the Iraqi dinar, for example, we are giving price of 5,000 Iraqi dinar for 1 kilogram of rice, you should pay 2030 because our money lost the price due to that sanction that directly affected on everyone. Right?
So he can't sell oil, but then the other side of sanctions that I think we often don't understand or hear about is he can't, or any country government leader can't import some of the things they need
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
What happens to a country if you can't import certain things that you need?
Yeah, it cannot be increasing the poverty rate 100%, or at that time it increased it 400% to whole Iraq, and we didn't have anything to eat. We didn't have electricity.
Your family.
Yes, my family, a part of everyone, like having a rice for every family, maybe just a normal food. Maybe eat to eat, like in the Eid of Ramadan, you are eating rice. You should wait to the next Eid after 2 months. Maybe in a year, just 3-4 times you can have rice.
You can have rice, the most basic
Yes,
thing on earth.
Yes.
As a food.
Yes.
You would have it 3 or 4 times in a year.
Yes, I am not talking about meat. This kind of stuff.
How many times did you have meat in a year?
I don't remember if you have it or not.
Maybe 0.
Yeah.
What do you eat if you can't eat rice?
The only
what do you have left?
The only thing we have at that time, you had mostly burghul.
Okay, a different kind of grain.
Yes. And we didn't have electricity. Like 0 hours of electricity. 0 hours of electricity.
For how long?
Maybe, what I remember, until 1998, something like this.
For how many years?
8 years of my life.
You didn't have electricity?
No.
You lived for 8 years
Yes.
without electricity?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I've known you for many years. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Wow. What? Tell me. Oh, wow. I mean, I've lived in Iraq for 20 years, and sometimes we still don't. I didn't have electricity last night for 12 hours, and I didn't like it. What is it like to live for 8 years without electricity?
Yes. Coming 1 hour sometimes in a day, 1 hour. So all the family prepares themselves just 1 hour to see the light, to see everything. Well, I don't know. Sometimes within the situation of now, I compare, I don't know how even when we are studying under the lamps that working, there is a kind of lamp working by kerosene. My majority of the primary school, I used this lamp to study. Otherwise, it was difficult.
You studied under the light of a kerosene lamp. I can tell our listeners who are younger and have never been in this kind of situation. Maybe some of the older audience members will know, but for those of us who are younger, if you're getting very close to a kerosene lamp, it doesn't smell good.
Yes.
Like you're breathing in these fumes. You blow your nose, everything is black.
Yeah.
And this is how you studied and did your schoolwork for your whole childhood.
Yeah.
And you're a smart guy. Like somehow it worked for you. You did your studies. You went to university.
Yes.
You're an engineer.
Yeah.
By the light of a kerosene lamp.
Yes.
So what do you think when, you've traveled Europe a little bit, you've met, hundreds of Americans. What do you think when people from outside this part of the world, think that maybe Iraqis or Middle Eastern people or Muslims or Kurds or Arabs or whatever are, not so smart, or maybe you're in this situation because this is your fault. Like, you made this mess because this is just how you guys are. You know what you did personally. You know what your neighbors did to survive this. How does that feel to know that that's sometimes, unfortunately, how people around the world look at other people who are the victims of war and genocide and dictatorship?
The problem of how this message delivered to these people, and these people, they heard about it, they don't hear about it, and especially for us at that time, there were not the media coverage for our situation. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about it. Sometimes also the politic situation affecting on the stories. Even this big genocide happened to us in during 80s by Saddam's regime, or even the chemical attack, didn't create this kind of international care about the Kurds, about the human right. Didn't happen this. So
Not in 1988.
yes,
Only later, when
invaded
we
Kuwait.
needed the story
Yes,
to go to war.
yes.
But not actually at the time when the Kurds really,
No.
not because of the Kurds themselves as a people,
Yes.
but because of the way we could use that as a political
Yes.
thing against Saddam.
This is why we kind of say sometimes like there is no value for human.
Yeah.
There,
The Kurds have a very famous saying. What is that saying?
just our mountain, our friends. We don't have any friends more than our mountains. Because it protected us. And it can be the second home for everyone in Kurdistan. If anything happens, just a mountain
Run to the
can
mountains.
welcome us and be there.
So we're in the 90s, and the Kurds have pushed out Saddam from your direct lands, your direct area. But now Kurdish parties are fighting against each other,
Yes.
brother killing brother. You have cousins on both sides who are killed
Yes.
in this civil war. This carries on throughout the 90s, most of the 90s. And then in 2003, the U.S. invades and first kind of drives Saddam into a kind of hiding and exile. And then later they find him, they capture him, they put him on trial.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about, you're older now by that point.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you remember of U.S. Army coming in, Saddam being deposed, captured, put on trial, all that.
So at that time I was 13 years. I remember everything from that time. So
this is the guy you were drawing mustaches on.
Yes.
The guy you were drawing horns on.
Yes.
And now he's hiding in a hole.
Yes.
What was that like?
Yeah. From the beginning of the war, when the liberation, as a Kurds, we are naming the liberation of Iraq, the process of liberation, and some others different names.
Yeah, they see it
there
differently,
is-
which is an important part of the story.
Yeah. At the beginning, everyone cannot trust the situation because from the end of 90s, U.S. government so many times we will attack Iraq. Still, people doesn't have this trust. It can happen until the day attack started. When the attack started, also people start worried what will happen to us because we had this memory of the chemical attack from Saddam toward the Halabja. So a lot of people they were thinking, especially in Sulaimania, it can be a chemical attack from Saddam's side towards Sulaimania. So we were starting just using a kind of normal protection to the houses. We were putting nylon sheet over the windows, over the doors.
To try and keep gas out.
Yes, in case something happen, it can protect us. It can be better than having nothing over the windows because we were thinking that it will happening like the chemical attack towards Soleimani. We hear it like maybe informally, people a kind of talk, everyone talking about it like Saddam will attack Soleimani by chemical attack.
So you were afraid. So our whole story as Americans, the whole war was about weapons of mass destruction. That was the word.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there was a legal definition, but
No.
the popular definition was just any weapons that could kill a lot of people at one time.
Yes.
And one of the famous phrases that the American head of the military said is like, we don't want to wait until we see the cloud of smoke going up because then it's too late.
Yeah.
And you guys had been through that situation
Yes.
in Halabja. Mustard gas, VX gas,
Yes.
sarin gas. So you're putting nylon plastic over your windows, just fearing that Saddam is going to do another attack on you to maybe like scare the American army to not come in or something like that.
Yeah, and even some people left the city, went back to the villages because we were thinking that the major attack it can be Suleimania.
Okay.
So day by day, everyone watching news.
This was Suleimania, your city,
Yes.
kind of a resistance hub.
Yes.
A revolutionary kind of hub.
Yes, yes. It was one of the main cities that against Saddam. As a governor, we kind of say like all the town and districts of Suleimania. Day by day, we were watching at that time mostly like the Kurdish local news. Some people they have satellite to the international news, and the majority doesn't have. Watching Al Jazeera, and day by day, everyone just watching what will happen with their. At the beginning, it was a big fight ongoing on Basra. They controlled Basra? They went past through Basra. The hope of pushing down Saddam's regime among the people just increased it. Up to the date of April 9th, when everyone just watching on TV, the Saddam statues,
pulled down in
the famous
Purdue
video
Square.
pulled down, yeah. It became like a Eid or Judgment or a
Holiday,
party.
yeah, party.
Everyone, and as a second day, just everyone just celebrating.
35 years.
Yes, 35 years, and
He'd been in power.
but
But he's not dead.
no,
So-
just changing the government, and again we for the Kurds like liberating Kirkuk. It was another victory, and people celebrating all
So
this.
he goes into hiding. He runs away. He goes into hiding. He's got palaces all over the country.
Yeah.
He's got, very loyal kind of Revolutionary Guard forces that,
Yes.
that will protect him and fight for him, and loyalists all over the country still, even if. But he disappears. The U.S. doesn't catch him
No,
initially.
yes,
I think maybe 6 months, or I don't know, 6 or 9 months at least, they're hunting for Saddam. I can't remember exactly how long. What do you remember the day they found him? Like, not the day,
Yes.
but do you remember the images? Do you remember the
yes,
feelings?
yes.
Tell me about what it was like to see your dictator, your oppressor, the guy who did genocide against your people, who drove your family into Iran. What do you remember about that day?
At the beginning, some of the people cannot trust. People thinking about it kind of be like a scenario. It's not the real Saddam, because when we saw
He was known to
him,
have body doubles.
but yeah, and saw him with this beard, with this long hair, like a
He didn't look the
crazy
same.
person. No, never not look the same.
Tell me what Saddam looked like, how he presented himself in public for 35 years.
When you remember like the image of Saddam in the memory of everyone, like a man with army clothes every time and having weapon and smoking the Cuban famous cigarette.
The Cuban cigar.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Cuban cigar every time. This is like the memory, and
His hair. What about his hair?
his hair, like he's really a handsome guy.
Yeah.
He's a handsome
Perfect
guy.
hair.
Yeah.
Jet black.
Yes.
Mustache.
Yes.
Perfect.
Everything is perfect and a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Even a lot of people trying to act as how Saddam acting.
He
like,
became like
a
the
famous-
Iraqi man.
Yes.
Like somehow everyone should look like him and act like.
Not just for Iraq, even for the some of the Arab nations became like their hero.
A very powerful figure.
Yeah, it's a powerful figure.
Very respectable. Like.
And created this kind of the story. He is the one can protect the Arab nations from Iran, from Israel, from other countries.
Yeah, I want to talk about that in a minute. Before we go there, let's go back to the day he was captured, though.
Yes.
So we have this really regal, stately man for 35 years with the most perfect image in the media, that he controls the media as well. And then you see these images, U.S. media probably, saying, we captured Saddam. But what were the images they were showing you?
The image they showed us they showed like a destroyed Saddam. We will just compare.
They captured him alive.
Yeah, they captured him alive, and we will just see it kind of be from where to where, from this power taking care of everything. Everyone, even from inside the homes, no one can talk about Saddam, afraid if someone listening. Brother cannot trust his brother to talk about Saddam.
In the past.
In the past, and
because
now.
Saddam was always listening.
Yes, always.
There's a famous idea, Saddam had ears everywhere.
Yes.
Eyes everywhere.
Yes.
Even inside your house.
Yes. And now we will see Saddam capturing in this hole under the ground.
In a hole.
In a hole under the ground, and
they didn't find him in his palace.
No.
He wasn't sitting on his golden throne.
In the far farm in Salahuddin, under the ground, in a hole.
Not in a bunker.
No.
Not in a very professional kind of underground.
No, he don't have like.
It was a dirt hole, wasn't it?
A dark hole, and just they built it by themselves. Doesn't have any kind of service house Saddam living.
The king of Iraq.
Yes, the king of Iraq.
In a hole.
And I remember how
a small hole too.
Yeah. Another kind of the story, how people were afraid from Saddam, but when you will see an American soldier, how he was checking with the light on his eyes, touching his hair, how he's playing by the face of Saddam, and it kind of be like a health checking. I don't know what he's doing, but how it became easy, and people worried to mention Saddam's name in the bad way, and now how everything changes.
What did that feel like?
I feel like this is gonna be the end of any dictator, any people who are thinking you cannot stay at the power if you don't serve your country, if you don't serve your people. This will be your future.
You thought it was the end of all dictatorship in Iraq.
It can be
like everyone will remember this story and they will never try to do something like this again.
I cannot say it will not happen again.
But did you think that?
Yes.
At the time?
Yes. At that time, yes, for sure.
Wow. That Saddam would be a kind of lesson to the world, or at least a lesson to all of Iraq.
Yeah, to Middle East countries.
If you don't serve your country, you will end up in a hole like this.
Yes.
Wow. Is that what happened?
Yes. Kind of, yes. If we compare with how was Saddam and how was this new government, you cannot compare.
No one has ever returned to the Saddam kind of way of ruling the country.
Yes.
It didn't stop the guy next door, Bashar al-Assad, from becoming somehow his own kind of Saddam. Why do you think that the next door neighbor guy is watching what happens to this guy, but it doesn't change how he leads his country, rules his country? I know you're not Syrian, but I'm just curious, as an Iraqi, and as a child with that perspective, you think it's going to warn everybody, like, serve your people or you will be in a hole. But it didn't work for, like, Bashar al-Assad.
Yes. I think it is related to what they have because of this power. And also in another way, they controlled, they manipulated everyone. Sometimes even they are doing election.
Yeah.
The result of the election is 90%, 99% selecting Saddam, selecting
for the dear leader.
Assad. So they created a kind of drama. They created a kind of the show. They don't believe what is the reality of the life of Syrian people or the reality of the Iraqi people. They believe the story they created. So they don't feel to the situation of people. They cannot see how people's life. This is why it doesn't become a lesson for them. Also for them, it is difficult, like as a family, as a power for the family, it is difficult. These families can leave their chair to another one because they know what they did.
Mm-hmm.
The fear of retaliating of the next government or people cannot let them to leave the chair easily.
So Saddam is captured, goes to trial, is put to death. You go to university, you
Yes.
become an engineer, and then you start working in the humanitarian field, which is where I meet you for the first time. Tell me
Yes.
a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I started work as an engineer. After that, in 2014, when ISIS started from Syria and came to Iraq, invaded the three major cities of Iraq, Nineveh, Saladin, and Anbar. A lot of people in this area are displaced and came to Kurdistan, and some of them to my city, Suleimania. They were displaced in some refugee, some IDP camps in Suleimania. At the same time, also Syrian people also displaced from their country. They came as a refugee here. The first time when I started, it was in one of the IDP camp.
Tell our audience what IDP means and what.
IDP, it means internally displaced inside the same country. So they were displaced because ISIS invaded their area, so they displaced it to another safe area that doesn't been controlled by ISIS.
And why is that different from a refugee?
A refugee, what we are terming it kind like displacing from country to country, like crossing the border. Like these displaced people, they didn't cross the border of the country, just internally to our country, like from city to city displaced.
And there's some different legal protections that are given to refugees, for example, when they cross a border.
Yes, a kind of United Nations, UN protection, UNHCR protecting them.
So sometimes we will call both groups displaced people.
Yes.
Or sometimes we'll call both groups refugees.
Yes.
But really there can be a difference. Okay,
Yes.
so you're working in one of the internal camps.
Yes, I started working in the internal camps with one of the international organizations. For me, just I remember it like also the whole story of my family.
You were working with the International Federation of the Red Cross, Red Crescent, right? From the Qatar side.
Yes, Qatar Red Crescent.
Okay.
I started work with them. We were working in the wash sector, like providing clean water for these families inside the camp.
Now, you had gone to school, studied, become an engineer. You'd done some construction, worked as an engineer in construction spaces. What made you turn to the humanitarian sector?
I remembered all my family, what they told me, how the Iranian people, they helped us, how still they were proud by this assistance got it from our Iranian or our Kurdish Iranian people there. So I love it to serve people. I love it like to do it, to be the second chapter of my life. They were helped us when I was a refugee and my family displaced to Iran. So maybe it is a time for me to serve these people through this international aid organization. So I was so comforted every day when I am seeing I can help a displaced family. I can give, we can provide clean water for them. We can serve them and see these children, how they were happy, see these ladies, how were they happy by getting this assistance or this kind of, sometimes on the monthly basis, we are providing hygiene kit for the families. How they were happy and how we were talking about it. Every day is a story for me. I am seeing different families, different children. So I am enjoying in my work. This was like a door for me to enter humanitarian work.
Did you think of yourself as a refugee at that time? Like, I know you were not a refugee at that time.
Yeah.
But was this an identity or a word that you carried with you? Or do you think maybe because you were a child or because your time was about 5 months outside of your home and outside of your country, did that word not stay with you in the same way?
It stayed with me how can help people, how change the life of people, how these people in this time they need us, how we can be with them, how we can stand with them. This helped me, being with me, uh, to have a kind of better understanding of what will be the life of refugee, how they need you, how they need support from all the sides, from all the stories my families told me when we were displaced. I try to serve the best help I can do for them.
There's a story I know about you personally. I'm going to ask about it here. You haven't referenced it, but when you were in Iran, somebody gave you a new name.
Yes.
Tell me about that story.
From the beginning when I mentioned it, I was so sick. This was one of the reasons my mom aware to give me to anyone, because she thought when they see me I'm sick, they don't care, just throw me or leave me in a place. They said, he will die, he will not survive. They don't need to take him to cross the border and be with them for this, crossing these miles or crossing the border of the two countries. So even inside Iran, my family took me to different doctors or different places. Still, my situation stayed as the same, and I was so sick. Like some people saying, he will die, he will not survive this baby. So one of the day, Sheikh of mosque, just his son came to my father, the Sheikh of mosque of the area, the Kurdish Iranian city, when my family displaced, came to my father, said, why you don't bring it to my father to read some of Islamic religious Quran, to read on him. Maybe just, you tried everything, let me try this also.
Yeah, so your baby's sick, bring him to the mosque. Let my dad, the sheikh, pray for him with some Quran verses, and maybe God will heal him.
Yeah.
What can we lose?
Yeah. So they took me, and the sheikh read Quran on me and prayed for me, everything. After that, asked my name. My father said his name Rawand. He said, no, I want to rename another name. Said, what will be the name you will hope to rename? He said, I want his name to be Ahmed. Also my father said, oh really, I love this name, because my grandfather also, his name Ahmed. So I have a kind of a surname of Ahmed. And hopefully after that day, I just start to recovering and my health being stable from this praying of Sheikh.
So I love this story so much because one of the things that we're exploring in this series right now is how we see each other, identity, how we see ourselves. Yeah. You're a very, very sick baby who many people around you think you're going to die. And the sheikh at the mosque still has some vision for your life, still has some dreams, still has some hope, some faith in God even. So he prays for you. But he doesn't just pray over you or read the Quran over you. He renames you.
Yes.
Does this, one of the reasons I love this is because he renames you at a time that you're at your worst, at a time that you're displaced, and you are a refugee. And these are some of the the times when we treat other people the worst, actually. We drive by the guy on the side of the street, or we walk past the one who's asking us for money, or we drive around the refugee camp because we don't want to get too close, or, you know. And this guy, he sees you in that worst time of your life, and he gives you a new name. He won't accept for your name to just be like, he won't accept for people to just see you as a refugee. He wants to put a good name on you and make sure they give you a new name, I guess, like a new identity. The reason I ask about it is when you met your wife, maybe before she was your wife, I don't know exactly when, but she would come around your family and they were talking about Ahmed.
Yes.
And she said, "Who's Ahmed?"
Yes. Even my friend, one time, one of my friend came to our house, and it was opposite. Another story. It was asking, because in school and university, my name like gonna work as a formal name is Rawand, but informal.
Your legal name.
Yeah.
Yep.
My informal name, surname is Ahmed, and all my friends, like home friends.
Surname or your nickname, kind of?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ahmed. People just call him, like even my relative, everyone just
Your
using
nickname.
Ahmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So asked me, where is Rawand? My mom just thinking, who is Rawand?
Who is Rawand? My youngest, I forgot his name.
It was like
So the name, my point is that I love this, the name stayed. The name stayed with you.
Yes.
When someone puts a name on you, it can really stay with you.
Yes.
If someone puts a bad name on you, it can stay with you
Yes.
forever. If someone puts a good name on you, it can stay with you.
Yeah. It
forever.
became an identity.
An identity.
Yeah.
When you're doing this work, how do you think that has affected how you see people and how you do this work? The question of identity. I know you're not the kind of person to just go out and give people new names, like officially, like the Sheikh did. But I also know from working with you that there is some kind of way where you are giving people new names. Tell me a little bit about how you see this work and how you work with people.
I think giving this kind of identity or giving names, sometimes giving the power or giving back the hope to these people. It is a kind of support to these people. You can just support them. Just it can be a new story for his life. We have some other friends in the IDP camp. I have a friend working with me. Just we were helping them a lot inside the IDP camp. They named their baby the same name of my team. My team working with them. You will see, like, sometimes just loving each other, can share the name, can dreaming about, like, I want to be the same of Rawand or the same of Jeremy. You want to follow the same stories, the same journey. So this is why some people just naming of this. Sometimes also in the bad way. Like a lot of Iraqi families, they named their babies under the name of Saddam. But after Saddam's push it out from government became a problem for them. They kind of recognize them. You are one of the families, you love Saddam so much because this is why I use it. Otherwise, it's a normal name. This is but just an example. And I think name, it can be, for some people, it can be an identity related to be the faith or religion. Some of them, it can be like following the politic. Sometimes also name be a problem for some people.
We have a friend between us, an old friend. When we met them, they were displaced. They had just survived genocide from ISIS. And they were living in a small little community where when they arrived, everyone knew they arrived. It was like there was no way for them to hide from the neighbors, you know. So everyone knew they were the refugees who just came here. And together we started helping these families and started loving them like you were talking about and spending our time with them. And really, I think everyone will say became friends, you know, truly became friends. And in time, we helped them start some businesses, and specifically we helped them learn how to make soap. Was one of the things that we helped. Tell me the rest of that story of what happened with their name and their identity in that community.
Yeah, it was something beautiful, like 4 families together. They will have new babies. So each of them, they renamed their baby under our organization's names, like the leaders. Like one of them named it Micah, like it's your son. Another one, Emma.
My daughter.
Yeah, your daughter. So it's just a kind of love and friendship how we built from the helping a refugee family.
That's not even the point I was thinking about, though. The neighbors themselves didn't call those guys refugees anymore. Do you remember what did they start to call them?
Like be a part of them, like Drausi in Kurdish, like just a neighbor.
They started calling them neighbor, and then I remember one time he told me they don't call us refugees anymore. They call us the soap makers.
Yes.
And I just, that idea of like, refugee can be such a bad word for people sometimes. I'm not saying it's a bad word. It's not. But other people will treat you like... Your experience was pretty good in Iran, but that's not every refugee's experience.
Yes.
Sometimes they get a lot of discrimination, a lot of abuse. And so when you can do work as a refugee to change your own identity in the way other people see you, and people will stop calling you just by this like needy name, refugee, and they will start seeing your power, your dignity, and call you by your work or your worth or, you know, your values. That's always such an exciting moment, I think, in our life as a team and in the life of our friends. Okay, so I have a kind of a wrap-up final couple questions for you. I think the big one is, how do you survive a dictator?
Sorry, just can you explain?
I think everyone will take their own meaning from the question. You survived. Your family survived. Your mom and dad made some important decisions.
Yes.
Your neighbors made important decisions. You fled, but then you came back. And then the freedom you were, as you've told us here today, the freedom you were all seeking, it didn't come. What came next was brother killing brother, losing 2 cousins, one on each side even. Some people didn't even survive that there, you know. Some people survived, some people didn't. And you're still here today. You're doing this work. You're co-founder of Humanite Peace Collective. You're leading good work in Gaza and Iraq and Syria and around the world, and you've survived. What are some of the lessons you've learned about how to survive a dictator, war, genocide, terrorism, and how are you helping other people survive their own dictators today?
The important thing for these people, there are some kind of, we can say, how the dictator start, how people became a dictator. If you are going back to this situation, in every place, in every location, dictators using some major lines inside the community, they are working on this. First, it can be working every time, creating like a kind of trauma to people. If I am not in a power, there are a lot of terrorists coming to the country. They will kill you. They will destroy our country. Or
I'm the only one who can protect you.
yeah, I am the only one who can protect you. Second, when they are coming to the government, when they are inside the government, they will control the most economic sources of the country, and blaming the previous country, blaming other groups. Oh, this is the fault of others. The third one, just creating like a kind their own media to make the propaganda, to let people just trust them and follow them. The fourth one, like removing the value for the major component of the country, like justice, like parliament, like others, and finally opening and creating a barrier for the free press.
Wow.
And building their own media. Through this own media, they can control everywhere, and it can be pushing back the press. So
you're shocking me right now, because we have not talked about this. We did not prepare for this conversation, and I 100% know that some of our audience right now are thinking, he just described America. He just described Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Now, there's another part of our audience who either thinks that you're like doing some propaganda against them, or hears me say that and thinks that's so ridiculous. Like, how can you even draw a connection between America and Saddam Hussein? But that even that is part of like the problem that we're facing in countries that go through this, is some people think we're going for dictatorship right now, and other people think, no, this is just normal. This is just how like strong leaders lead their country. What do you have any advice for a population of people who don't agree on like when these things are arguably happening, but some people think it's not a big deal, and some people think it's the beginning of dictatorship? What should we do?
The main point, when the dictator controlled everything at that time, there will not be a choice for you.
It'll be too late.
It will be too late for you. From the beginning, it should be when the dictator tried to touch the justice, try to reduce the value of justice, try to reduce the value of parliament, and try to show himself just a hero, and make everything just trying to show people in the simplest way, I can solve this in this way, or this was the fault of previous government. This kind of some signs, maybe it will happen, maybe it will not happen. But the important thing and the important advice to everyone to that face it, live it or survive it from the dictator, when you will see this, you should be like the civil engagement of the people or civil society organizations. This kind of the groups, they should tie to each other, and they should not let this be continue. And the audit, and there are some kind of freedoms, there are some kind of the directories should be stayed out of the politic games, should not be touched, should not be related to the politic parties when they are in control. And it is better every time for people, especially for those countries who changing the government through the election, still the election have some value for them. It is good to not give the full power to somebody. It can be just most of the time create a balancing. So as through that time, doesn't let just one guy can decide, can do everything by himself. If this is like a start of everyone, like all the dictator's countries, they have parliament, they have election.
Yeah.
But what is the meaning of election? What is the meaning of parliament? What is the meaning of even government or prime ministers?
I think that's something Americans really don't understand, is we think that dictator looks like You send your parliament home. You send your Congress home. They don't exist anymore. You close down all the offices of all the media. They don't exist anymore. You send all the judges home. They don't exist anymore. And that's not actually how it works.
No.
They all exist,
Yes.
but they're scared, or they're controlled by money, or they're afraid of somebody's power, but they still exist. They just don't do their job in the proper way. You said that civil society organizations, community-led organizations, should stick together, but it didn't even happen for you, your people, your country, after Saddam. Like, after you guys kicked Saddam out of your region, and you went to the time of Kurdish civil war, these Kurdish organizations didn't stick together. Even it became a civil war, even with the Kurdish people. How do you have any advice? How do we stick together? Because this seems to be the big challenge. Like, when we all have the same enemy, we do okay. But if we start disagreeing about what is the enemy, like, so if we can all agree Russia's our enemy, okay, an outside enemy, then the United States will like gather together, or Iraqis will gather together, or something like that. So I think this is why the U.S. has used so many outside enemies over time. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Russia, like China. When we have a big outside enemy, Americans can be more united. But when we have internal enemies, we get divided. And that seems to be like the Kurdish story a little bit as well. You had an outsider enemy with Saddam, but then after you've dealt with him, now you turn on each other. It feels like America is now turning on each other a little bit more because we can't agree who is the enemy. Do you have any advice for Americans about how to stay together and not tear each other apart in times like this?
Yeah, this is a difficult part because every time like outside enemy will be easier.
Yeah.
Everyone can get it in the same way, or it can be easier understanding to everyone. But internal, because everyone make their own description to the situation, make their own understanding to the situation. Some people saying, oh, that's not what you are thinking about it, or it will not be this dangerous, or it doesn't have this affect what you are thinking about it. The important thing, or the important advice for this, it can be how you will make some value or make some lines. If it can cross this line, it can be destroying, like putting some value for the country, letting some kind of the direct government directory to not be touched by any politic sides. When this kind of the directories, when this kind of the organization has been touched at that time, it cannot be returning back to the same.
And then what do you do with the organizations or the people or the neighbors who change their values? You say we should set some values for the country, but sometimes you're setting those values during a time of external enemy.
Yes.
But then when it comes internal, now some people will negotiate on those values, or they will compromise on those values, and they will say, oh, that was just about during the time of ISIS, or that was just about during the time of Russia and Cold War, but that doesn't apply to the party, to my party or this party. Like, we should let our party cross that line, because our party is going to really be the protector of the people. So we have to let our... How do you deal with people who now start to change the values that one time they said were values that should never be touched?
I think at that time, the important thing for me, what I am thinking about it, is how it can be like free media. Yeah, the first thing that directly affecting on everyone without, before you are reaching to your neighbor to discuss about something, you will hear about from social media, from the other kind of media. So protecting media to be manipulated by the government.
Do you think we have free media anywhere in the world now?
I think in some way all has been affected. It is difficult. For me, I don't know. From my experience, I cannot see like 100% free media. Everyone have some behind sense for the medias. Money,
censorship,
yes,
reach.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask the question again and just see if there's, I don't know, like if you had to give the simplest answer, how do you survive a dictator?
The simplest answer, it can be select the right people. Don't follow everyone. And don't clap for everyone without understanding what is going on. Like, don't decide on the things just you are seeing. Trying to see behind the scenes what will going on. This is what I am advising.
Okay, final question. A lot of Americans will look at a country like Iraq or your neighbors in Syria or close by in Gaza or Iran or Yemen and think these countries always have problems. They've had problems for 50 years, 100 years. We're never going to change those countries. That's the way those people are. But we are Americans. We are Europeans. We're totally different. Like, we literally cannot have those problems because we are not like those people. So don't talk to me about dictatorship. Don't talk to me about civil war. This is all like, we're different kind of people and different kind of countries. It will never happen here. What do you have to say to people who say it will never happen here?
I think it can happen everywhere. It is not something just special. Maybe in this time, we cannot accept each other in these countries. A lot of factors affecting like to not accept each other, and we are in this situation like we will have some values over the country, we will have some values over the democracy, we will not accepting each other in the right way, but this kind of happened because this was not something just in one day happened. It is like different stages. In the last stage, I think it is possible for every country. If there will not be a good government system to protect the people, if it is not be a good democracy system, it is possible to happen everywhere. It is not specified just to Middle East.
Rawand Rasool, thank you for being with
you
us
so
today. Until next time.
Thank you so much.
We are the Department of Peace. If today's conversation challenged you or changed you or made you think, don't let it stop here. If you're sick of the way things are, but you don't want to just sit in your frustration, I hope you'll become a member of the Department of Peace today. The Department of Peace online community is a space where doers and dreamers across the world are coming together to rise above the mindsets and the systems that keep us down and divided. And this isn't just talk. We're actually doing it. We fund relief work in Gaza. We're rebuilding in Iraq and Syria. And we're producing and touring protest art from Ukraine and the West Bank. When you join us, you'll be joining a community of people ready to help you wage peace in your backyard as well. And we're trying to build a real movement here, and we need you in it. Find us at www.departmentofpeace.world. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Because most believe the way things are is the way things have to be. But I have a feeling if you've made it this far, you're not like most, which means we really need you. Click below to enlist in the Department of Peace today.